All right. We're live, Mayor.
Okay. Hey, everybody. We're going to start. We're live, Mike. Couple things I'll start off with because we just approved the budget for fiscal year 2025, and I'm very pleased. I'm hoping everybody else is too. There's a couple of things that I really want to emphasize on the budget. Because I think you go into budgets and you look at fixing certain things, and we have fixed what I believe is fixed some pretty important things. The first one is that I believe we finally fixed the Nassau Bay police officers' pay. We gave quite a substantial bump. I think y'all remember how we've kind of restructured some of the way in which we do capital projects, and we've really offloaded the general fund, which has given us the wherewithal. And correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I think we raised the police officers in the field on the beat by 9%, and that's about a $600-700 a month raise for each one of our officers. And not only do we do that for the beginner salary, beginner wage, or introductory wage, we did it across the board for all officers, because we didn't want to burden the people who had been here, 30 years versus an officer who's been here 1 year or just about ready to come. We elevated the whole pay scale, which I actually appreciate. A couple of officers actually come up and thanked us for doing that, and I believe it's a worthy investment. And I'll mention a couple other things, but I think that put an extra don't give me for the exact thousands, but it's about $120,000 more in our M&O, which is the maintenance and operation of the city, based off that. The other thing I'm really proud about with this one, because it's one of the main reasons I ran, is we have created the wherewithal by which to finally get out of, or at least have a view of our deferred maintenance list in our capital projects. We in this budget cycle, and working with the water and sewer rates, we were able to make sure that particularly over the next 5 years, but I think what you'll see after fiscal year 2026, call it somewhere in 2027, we will have completed the renovation of much of all the water, sewer, and a lot of the roads type activities, so that burden on the city's finances will be pretty much gone. And to me, that's if there's one thing we can do to really help out the financial health of this city, is to get all that infrastructure behind us. Then we can do bigger projects which are additive rather than just repair. One citizen I remember told me, it's the best thing we can do is get out of the repair business and actually put in the creation business. So that's where I think we'll be by about 2026, which to me is great. You're gonna see another tranche of palm trees coming up on Nassau Road 1. So you'll see there. I think there'll be 20, 25, depending on the price that we can get. And I believe that's when we're going to stop. There, if you look before we had those series of freezes and stuff like that, it was just shy of 150 palm trees that were up on Nassau Road 1. There were, I think, 147, if I remember correctly. And this will bring us to about 75 or 80. So, we're about half. And I think we're going to stop with the majestic jewels just to see what the other areas, what the other landscaping could be. I think done more colorful, and I think it's really centered on the main part of Nassau Bay. And then other than that, we're continuing to do things. I think there's about $500,000 worth of street repairs that are going to be going on. We want to do that every year, and I think we've structured it such, as well as continually to enhance some of the areas in our parks. So I think we did a good job of fixing the police pay. I think we did a good job of finally getting the deferred maintenance and repair of our infrastructure. We can see that end. and as I mentioned, some of the other things. I in all visibility, I want to say there is a small tax increase in this budget. In order to make sure we kept the financial portion correct, every $100,000 of home value, it'll be $10 a year more. So it's actually a really minor tax increase, but we wanted to get these capital projects to pay behind us. So rather than slow down a little bit there, we needed a little bit of extra revenue. So again, if you have a $300,000 house, it'll be $30 a year, not a month, $30,000 a year. And the water rates only went up for water and sewer rates only went up for very large commercial consumers. So you need to consume 100,000 gallons a month of water to go into the next thing. Most families go between 5,000 and 10,000. So you'd have to consume 10 times the typical rate of a residence in order to be able to qualify for the higher commercial rates. And that's there. Good morning.
I'm pleased to see that we did that in terms of working to catch up the pay for the my level of our police here. I think that's important. That really was just a catch up, though, right? We're not getting ahead of the competitive market with these additional dollars.
No, I think it's a little bit better than that. So the staff came back with a based off the survey to get us, like you said, just catch us up. What we did on this one is, because that survey will be now a year old, what we did was we added a % increase so that we actually get ahead of it. So we're increasing ours now before all the rest. So we believe we're not only going to be. Let me back up a little bit. In one of the companies I worked for, we used to break things down into quintiles. I believe we're not paying the best. I'd say we're in the second quintile, but we're probably on the lower, so we're above average, and we are certainly competitive. One other thing, we also increased for starter officers instead of a $5,000. I'll call it finder's fee. It's a $10,000 hiring bonus, just because that's what's going on. It's really very, very difficult today to find good quality police officers, and people are not going into the profession like they used to, as I think we all know. And my heart goes out for them. Anybody who's in that profession, they have such a very difficult job. I think this was the least we could do.
So is it a fair summary based on that to say, obviously there may need to be more dollars next year depending on how things play out? We don't know how inflation's going to play out.
Correct.
But the market's going to be the market's.
Correct.
It's always moving. We know that. But that puts us in a better stead for probably less of a need for an increase that would relate to that.
I believe that's correct.
And so we sort of, we established a good foundation to build upon.
My hope is, and this is something because the turnover in the police, and a lot of it's because of pay. And Paul, don't chime in here. Is we've always been 1 or 2 FTE or 1 or 2 positions down, so we're always playing catch up. A lot of the guys, had to work overtime, so I think we're gonna get credits there that we didn't
move dollars around.
Correct. But I also believe that we will have. This will enable us to maintain the full workforce, which we haven't had, and I'm guessing since Chief Cromie said since he was here. So I'm hoping that this finally puts that to bed. And I think somebody made a comment that they really liked about Nassau Bay as it was small enough to get to know anybody. I'm hoping if we don't have the turnover, we have a much better relationship and get to know the officers who work our beat. This is specifically the officers who patrol that this went to. The only other thing is the reason why you see Paul and I a little bit blurry-eyed is because we've been very much tackling. I think people are pretty aware that we've kind of taken a pretty stiff stance to the Sapphire apartments and the Bay House apartments. We've done so far 2 groups of inspections We've done one, which is inspected 9 homes or 9 apartments. We have formally noticed the apartment owners that those were to us did not meet the criteria for public health, and have told them that we want them to remediate and vacate those apartments until those have been properly remediated. They've formally responded. I think they have a plan that I think is less than what we want. So there's going to be, so this is where the beginning is, I think, some of the more difficult discussions going to be. We did 14 more, which we got the results of those, and are in the process of notifying them that the mold specialist that was there recommended that all 14 of those be remediated too. And we're actively putting together the team by which to look at the chiller. We believe the chiller is the root cause to that problem. So we're having the right people, and are going to be inspecting that shortly. And we have the whole folks at the Bay House wanting to replicate exactly what we're doing. So we're organizing people at the Bay House to look at that. So that's all going. And I mentioned to some who are noticed, we've also give notice to the property at 18410 Kingstown Court that we had a formal inspection for the powers that were put under that contract that we have with them. I guess it was a week ago today.
Yes.
And they're, surprise, woefully deficient in that regard. So we
got the letter sent out yesterday.
Yeah, the letter was sent out.
30 days.
And the piece here,
It's 30 days to get.
We're all shocked.
all shocked, I say.
We're speechless.
Yep. The city makes a performance demand for the owner, Dr. Mae Jameson, to bring the property up to the contemplated and agreed stages of completion within 30 days from the receipt of this letter. Notice is hereby given that if the client fails to timely bring the property up to the agreed upon stages of completion, the city will be forced to file suit. And that was partly what we talked about in executive session, to seek specific performance of the agreed upon terms in the attached agreement and incorporate scope of work. If this suit is required to be filed, the city will seek reimbursement of all attorney's fees under the section 38.001 of the Texas Civil Practice Remedies. So either she's going to do it or we're going to bring suit, and it's long past. And the contract that I think was the debate up there, this allowed us the powers to do this because we anticipated we were going to be here, and now we are implementing the legal things, and the city will bear those legal costs to make sure we go forward. So long-winded. But that's any question. But I know you've got a lot to add too.
Yeah, just a few things. Like the mayor said, a lot of my time has been with the Sapphire apartment discussion. Now it's going over to Bay House. So we're trying to get a good plan together, and I'm outsourcing a person from an inspection company to basically do everything that I've been doing, so I can get back to normal city manager duties. And so hopefully we'll have that discussion early next week. And then we'll continue on working with the owner of the Sapphires. On some good notes, me and the mayor had the meeting with the Garden Club. We're invited. A lot of good things coming from the Garden Club. Love working with them. And then the water line replacement. That's this one project by itself is right at $1 million. That's replacing the header coming out of the water plant. And then from Saturn all the way down to Hilton, we should start seeing the end of the year breaking ground on that. So we're pretty excited of that, followed by the additional 4 more miles of water line. So you'll start seeing a lot of contractors beginning of the year in the city. Pretty excited about that. We continue to keep on the part-time tree people, the tree employees. They are working Monday through Wednesday on the streets, and then Fridays in the parks around the Lake Nassau. We're just trying to keep everything. A lot of Jeff, appreciate all the pictures. Jeff's my peninsula guy. He takes a walk out there and sends me pictures when it needs to be cut. With all this rain, my guys are pretty.
Just one thing I want to add: that header that Paul talks about when, and this goes directly to pocketbook issues, which is we are a ISO rating of 2, which means we're the second highest. We that a insurance auditing group that all cities across the country get audited for this. That we have the second highest rating in order to protect property, which is usually to fight fires. And our last audit, they're done every 5 years. We were a hair away from losing that. I mean, we were a fraction away. And it was for 2 main reasons, is that with all the homes that have been lifted and with some of the commercial development, with some of the taller and bigger buildings like Moody's, like over at Memorial, they said we put our firefighters in harm's way, as well as we don't have sufficient means without a ladder truck. So we did that, but this header, the second one, was the pressure in our water system, our grid, was bad in some areas, some ancillary areas, and that header is going to increase a whole pressure in our grid to fix that. Between those two, we should be back up to where we will not be in any risk of losing that insurance rating. That insurance rating, if you look at it aggregately, if it went from a 2 to a 3, would have cost between $300,000 and $400,000 of higher insurance premiums for all citizens. So I take that as like a tax increase, and so we're doing these investments to make sure that's possible.
Yeah, and further, what the mayor said is, when they come and inspect, they don't give you any warning, which is good. They come in and they test the system, and they happen to come in peak of the drought when everything was running at 100%. So it was actually good to see what our system was capable of doing. And we barely made it, but this is going to help us out a whole lot. Getting a new pump put in at the water plant, some new valves. So you'll probably start seeing an increase of pressure probably about mid next year. We're going to maybe try to go up a couple pounds just to get a little bit more pressure out in the system. But as far as the plant, wastewater plant is going well. Infrastructure, we're working on the street project list. So if you have any, after the drought, we noticed a lot of streets subsided and actually flattened out. So if you have any areas that is holding water, let us know.
Yeah.
A picture will help. And I think I've got probably about 12 areas that we're looking at replacing. So we just seen it go like this. And with all my other public works groups out there, they're seeing the same thing too. So we're going to try to stay ahead of that.
I got to correct because I get text. I mean, it shows how many people watch this. It's not Memorial, it's Methodist. I was thinking about my son where he's getting physical therapy, and so it's Methodist. I misspoke, so I apologize for that.
Paul, can you talk briefly how you correct? I mean, are you pumping stuff under the?
No, man, we'll replace the whole thing. We'll come in and they'll shoot grade, and we've noticed this the last go round. I think originally it was around 29 areas. By the time we were done, it was 39. So what they do is shoot grade. We will look at a couple panels, and if they're flat, we're hoping to replace that entire panel. We don't do 2-foot cuts no more, 4-foot. We do the entire 16-foot panel. But sometimes they have to go further back because we found that some of the streets are just flat from one end to the other. We've seen that, I think, on Antigua, that we seen it was flat. Yeah. So,
correct.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And then we also added a couple more inlets, double B inlets. And so sometimes we think that we're going to just replace 2 or 3 big panels, and we end up replacing half the street. Yeah. So and so we're just trying to get away from all the piecemealing.
Right along our driveways, it's a low spot. So when the water goes around the Upper Bay Road down there or whatever, for years we've had a low spot. It's getting lower. When Centerpoint came out and put that line under the street, over back, it's worse now because we're getting rain from across the street under the road. And so I'll appreciate any help
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
The one thing you made mention, it's something I see Gary's here is we're not doing lead jacking. What I think you're talking about
Right.
Yeah.
to do that. We found that really doesn't last, and it's something that carries over from about 25 years ago. We had done that, and 2-3 years later, it's just as bad as it was before.
Well, I'm worried about what it'll do to the end of my driveway. Is it going to damage the end of our driveways, whatever work is done? Will those get cracked or damaged?
Mhm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is that I think our policy is such that if we do damage, we take that first panel and we will replace it so it's contiguous with the proper seams and expansion joints.
Yeah, right.
And then also good news is I'm working with Centerpoint a lot here recently, and we've put in the budget to do the engineering to connect from basically the wastewater plant and then Upper Bay. We have a dead area there, so if we lose power coming from the south end of the city or the north end, we can connect it. And we just sent them all the plans, the profiles, and so that's something that they may be on Centerpoint's dime. And so we're thinking it was going to be on ours, but they want to help us a lot, so we're looking at doing that. So I should have a final decision on that here in the next few weeks. So we're pretty excited about that. Beside that, weather's changing. When it changes, we also see an increase in water breaks. We've had 2. It's just the ground shifting back. But in council, I mentioned, this time last year we was up to 12, 15 leaks per month, and we've had 2. So it's showing that our the money that we invested in the water lines is helping out a lot. Yeah. So, and then we're going to be getting the water tower painting. Hopefully, probably the end of the year, beginning of the year. We get the best prices from Northern Crews to keep their people busy, and we'll get some really good prices. So, and I know it was mentioned about maybe putting the city of Nassau Bay on it. So we'll take a look at that and see.
Just to be clear, because I saw you've got some questions I get to you. Is people thought that when we say painting, it's just the exterior. Really, the reason why we're painting the water tower is really the coating on the interior. It's we've actually deferred it. This would be the third year if we didn't, and it would easily be $2.5-3 million to replace that water tower. So we're doing the preventative maintenance and we're taking it down, and the whole inside, everywhere where there's corrosion and things like that, will be fixed, and it'll be like a brand new water tower. And I'm more interested on the inside, not the aesthetics on the outside, but we're going to do the aesthetics on the outside too.
Does that get power washed the inside?
During the coating system?
Well, yeah. Well, before, I don't know what they do. Doesn't it get
Yes.
fill up
Yeah.
with a lot of crud?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
either be that or even in some areas sandblasted. So
Yeah, when they do, they'll do a 3-part painting system, a coating system, and they'll power wash everything. But the guys usually get in there. We get it inspected. I think it's every 2 years, and we outsource that. And they come in with.
You have to take the loose stuff off. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if you coat it with flake, you got to get it down to where you can adhere.
Two things. You might have already talked about this, but what is the status of the ladder truck for the fire department, as well as the laying? We're working with the city of Houston on laying the new piping along Nassau Road 1.
Oh yeah. I covered that. We should see breaking ground the end of the year for the new water line. Yeah, and that's I think it's a 6. I think they put 8 months on that, and then we'll overlap with the new 4 miles of water line. So, and then the ladder truck.
We actually created a war chest for that, which allowed us. We've actually, I guess it was February of this year, so February 2024, we have formally placed the purchase order for that. So we have committed to the manufacturing construction of a ladder truck. That ladder truck, it takes about 3 years minimum to build it to what we have, which will mean come 2027, we're saving up on that in order to be able to pay for it, and that's our intention. So I don't want to say it's been bought, but we've committed and we've got funds saved, and we're on track for making sure we have that ladder truck here, because that's, like I mentioned, those two projects, the ones that you just mentioned, I think you may have heard, are the two things that we found that we had gone backwards relative to the insurance audit, our ISO rating, and that is the pressure of our grid and the use of a ladder truck given the buildings and the elevations that we've done with all our homes. So yeah.
That's all I had, man. Yes, ma'am.
The text dot sign for Lakeside Lane.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Lopez, I know April Schneider here from Val Harbor. I know that's been addressed. I know I addressed it about a year ago, and I just appreciate anything you do. I thought.
Okay. Is that the only sign missing out there? I thought they replaced it.
Val Harbor.
The Bal Harbor one too?
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. We keep us on that, because I'm gonna that one fell off. I'll just that, with all the things that one fell off. When you said that, I said, yep, we need to do that.
Let me follow with the email after this. Yeah. On both of them. Okay.
And
On
that's,
both sides.
Okay. On
Yeah.
both sides.
And the NASA side.
Okay. Coming both ways. Okay.
yeah, that's a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I had, Mayor. There's,
I have two questions, actually. I'm assuming the pothole on Upper Bay right when you turn off of NASA is on your list for repair.
It's on mine. That's, and I see that, because you
Yeah.
literally have to either swerve wide or swerve real tight, and it's right there.
is it more on the NASA?
It's
or
right at the expansion.
It's right at the
joint.
expansion.
It's right. It's
Okay.
It's like right when you turn, it's the
we-
first little trim piece or whatever.
Okay.
Full disclosure, that's kind of like the no man's land between us and TxDOT.
Okay.
So what you'll probably see is in the interim where we get the full, because I'm a concrete guy, I like putting in concrete, but we're a battle with them when we want to put concrete there. So you'll probably see a short-term piece of asphalt that was done there to cover that up. But you're right. It's a hole. And not only that, it's not really that big, but it is deep.
Yeah.
You feel it when you go in, and hit that. So I agree with you.
Yeah, they they hate us messing with that, because they have the signals are
Correct.
in there, and
Yeah,
a couple times we've hit it. Yeah,
super easy.
but we do put some asphalt just for the time being until they
Yeah.
can get a whole crew in there.
So I have
Yeah.
another question. I lived in the back off of Upper Bay. Any updates on the two boats that are beached?
I was gonna ask that question.
Yeah, that's.
We follow up with.
I know
So,
that, I know
think,
that the-
Let's just call it what it is. It's outside the city's jurisdiction right now.
I need to call Lee City.
No. We're going to be talking about it. I think we should. They have no interest in doing it because it's really not impacting anybody on League City, right? So I believe you call them and they'll just go ho hum. And I shouldn't say that, but I think we should just go out there and take care of
So
it.
the bigger boat that we were told somebody's living on
It's-
is now like
Yeah,
this up against the
It'll-
shore.
it'll become a dead boat here in a little
Yeah,
bit if
I'm like, I don't know that somebody is actively on that.
It
boat
is
right
not.
now.
We've checked that.
Yeah.
They are not.
The bigger one. We were told somebody was,
Yeah, not
but,
anymore.
but the way it looks right now, I'm like, then they're
Not
walking
anymore.
like this.
Yeah.
I just.
But it's out there. I've had many pictures and we've been talking. It's not in our city.
Right, I know that.
Yeah, so
I just didn't know if y'all had any further conversation.
I think we should just go grab it and take it and drop them off to wherever we can with the least amount of expense. But that's the truth. So
Be nice if Lee City would do that.
yeah, good luck.
Yeah. I mean, it's officially in League City's waterway, I
is.
guess, or?
So if you look at the creek and the way things go,
Yeah.
our property, the Harris County and the Galveston County line goes right through the middle of the creek. So we are on the kind of, it depends on where you're looking, but we are obviously on the Harris County side and League City's the Galveston County side.
Now, if you're swimming, you can just push it late at night back over.
And yeah, that's a real. I mean, it's silly, right?
It's not like
it's
a little
silly,
canoe.
but
It's like a massive yacht.
but it,
Yeah.
it looks like that's where people who are trying, it's word's gotten out that you can dump your boat and it can stay there floating. But it looks like it very much two abandoned boats. So yeah. Oops, he got you first, Gary.
And I don't get into extreme detail on this, but I just appreciate the city's efforts relative to the Sapphire situation. Those of us that were here at council on Monday night saw the citizen comment period, obviously the impact it's having on citizens. And it's hard not to feel empathy towards that. For obvious reasons. Also, the city is very limited, but it's actually.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Which is also part of the problem. So it's not that you don't care, but there's a limit to what you can do. It sounds like we're doing that. It sounds like obviously things are not resolving, the process is moving forward. There's going to be some back and forth on that. I know that that's going to be the case. Again, I don't even know all the details. That somebody else is doing the details. You know, that's what government's for. But do we have a sense at all of what a timeline for that will look like? In an optimistic case or a pessimistic case, just a range.
Well, I mean, the big piece that is, how should I say, not clear is what is the level of remediation which fixes the problem permanently, right? Where we have an interest. I mean, and you're right. Our focus is very narrow, which is public health. The city, a city government's creation is based off two basic premises, which is public safety and public health. And we have discovered a public health issue that we're pushing to make sure that they will not be able to rent out apartments that are a public health issue. That in itself creates a difficulty, right? So that's what we're trying to nail down. They believe that there's, at least my perception, and I'll say it that way, is that they think short-term remedies are long-term fixes. And that's where the discussion is right now.
If I could just follow on to that, just to close that, is that obviously a lot of the issues there are related to that as a root cause. It sounds like the tenants. But there are bigger issues there around things that are commercial, that are outside the city's jurisdiction as well. My understanding of the city can't do that. So I know a lot of it was broader as grievances by citizens on that day. The council, you were very patient. Patient listening, but you can't do anything. Are coordination efforts being made at all of those folks to direct them to the resources that actually could do something?
There are somewhat. I'd say, do I think it's sufficient? I'm just going to be honest. No, I really don't. I know that because of here, because of some of the people here go to Gloria Day. I know Gloria Day has a shrimp boil every year that's even coming up. So they're looking at dedicating some of those funds to people, either to be in a community, to pay for community legal help, or to actually help people as they try to move from one apartment to another apartment complex. So there's that. But we've established some people for organization and communication. I may be going over there once a week or once every 2 weeks just to have Q's and A's, because this is not going to be resolved in 2 weeks. It's just not. And we're trying to fix some of that. We just started a process where we legally are communicating to folks in mass and aggregate, so that we can keep people up to date and at least try to facilitate their options. But it's limited what we can do other than communicate and then help with volunteerism to help maybe with donations or financial things. It wouldn't surprise me if there's particularly with the shrimp boil and things like that, if that's how those funds, a GoFundMe or something's gonna come up here in a little bit, is what I understand, and everybody can help participate with that.
And I'm very transparent. I answer emails weekends, late at nights to the residents of Sapphire. So it's I'm constantly
We
back.
We have regular conversations with about
Yes.
100 people now.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective.
And then now Bay House is starting, so we're trying to get a really good process, because it's just overwhelming trying to
It's
take
hard.
care of it. Yeah.
But yes, thank you for that, Gary.
Well, not to extend the discussion too long, but are you using our person at all to say to them, you're doing a lot of work?
We are.
for them, which puts the city in a good position to bring action. But I'm not convinced with either that or Jameson's house that there shouldn't be some citations and fines to might have fired him, because Jameson has given us the slow walk again for a long period of time. I know you're working on it, but
Yeah.
when you can walk in that house, because the wall's not there, it's pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
But I want to give you some favorable comments too. Sandy and I had a little briefing from the head of the Longhorn project, and they were very active in concert on the way. A lot of people are being driven to stay in hotels here in Houston, but there's also livestock are coming up, and young people have asked if they can store their animals over at the Longhorn project, and they are, and she referred them over to the Marriott for some 40, 50 rooms. So EDC's money is supposed to go to get more heads and beds, and this is a good example of
Yeah, we actually upped our contribution because of that project and those things here. So just here is we went from $10,000 to $30,000 for the Longhorn project, and just like Gary said, and it's the hotel motel tax fund, not the EDC, but it's the hotel motel tax fund, and particularly because they wanted to coordinate with the hotels, and I didn't know it had gotten to be 40 to 50. I knew it was at least 20 to 30. Yeah, correct. So that shows how. If you, the other one that really surprised me was the Outlaw Challenge. If you were here, they for the local hotels, and Nassau Bay is a primary beneficiary of that. They had 990 hotel rooms for just that event, because it's now become a national event, and 990 hotel rooms. That's a lot. I did not realize they had gotten that big. But that's just another indication of what we're trying to do.
One last Monday question. How are you coming on the strip numbering on the curb?
Oh, that's Councilman
Waterwall.
Yeah, he's. I know. I think last month he said that he was trying to get back on that again. Him and his group, volunteer group.
He had a group of Gloria Day volunteers that really helped him. He thought he was getting all of Point Lookout done. That's his target. My bet is it's probably going to be, I'm going to say Thanksgiving before they get all of Point Lookout done. That's all being done by volunteers at no cost to citizens. So put a plug in for Councilman Chase Waterwall. He's the one who's really pushing that and has done quite well. And the paintings are one that not only look very nice, but it's uniform, and they also are reflective at night, so it helps with the police as well as the fire, more than the fire. So those are really done well. Jeff?
Speaking of hotel, do you have any update on the Hilton's plans for renovation?
I wish.
Yeah,
I wish they said that they thought they would be an active renovation and would actually invite us to the process by which they were going to choose between two rooms, and that's fallen off. And they have not mentioned anything. So I doubt fourth or first quarter 2025 is really a proper time frame. Just saying. So no. And what's bad about that, and because there's a follow-up question. What about the property next door, right? Which is they're waiting for the Hilton to decide which direction they're going to go. So that's a twofer. So yeah.
Also, thanks to the parks committee here, thanks to Paul, because of the Flower Park sidewalk project. At least partially completed, they look really good.
Yeah. One of the things that doesn't always get the visibility, but it's been just overall in the city a real target is ADA compliance. And I don't know if you noticed, but even the front door of City Hall was not ADA compliant until just here 6 months ago or so. You know, we had a lady actually, and this is sad, but I mean, we had a lady have to complain because she could not get into our building because we weren't ADA, because our doors go outwards, right? So if you're in a wheelchair trying to grab it, you cannot do it. So if you look down there now, we have the proper buttons and the proper things. Same thing for our parks, the widening of the paths, and particularly there's even a merry-go-round that's ADA, so that particularly children with disabilities have the ability to have access and actually have playground equipment they can play on. And we're going to continue that. And that's just one project that I'm really proud about. And so Swan Lagoon and David Braun Park both have access and facilities for ADA.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I read in the newsletter that you are also in charge of flood mitigation now.
Yes.
So you could appoint someone else to handle that.
Floodplain administrator, I believe it's
Is
called.
that what it is?
Yes. Yeah. So we have a contract with Safe Built, and they have someone on their staff that does it. This just allows me to start that process with them. Yeah.
From a legal standpoint, this is something we've been connected the dots of authority with who has the responsibility in our documentation, because at this point we had a position that was said which doesn't exist anymore, and literally we needed the right person to have the authority, and he's outsourcing it to Safe Built.
And we're still looking for a code enforcement.
We are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, hoping to have interviews next week.
Okay. What else? What are we missing?
Nancy.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
The big text dot sign that's on Madison Parkway, for evacuation
Mhm.
events. Is there any way, I know you guys are out trimming trees all over the city, before text dot comes out and makes a very rash decision of cutting the tree in half, could we cut a bee or something in that
Yeah,
tree?
Yeah,
So
we'll take a
it's
look
not
at it.
Covering the sign.
Yeah, those are the city's
before
trees.
They go kamikaze on us.
I'll make a general statement. Please, for things like that, send an email, send a text, whatever to Paul and I. We are actively taking people who have ideas, just like we said here about the sign and stuff like that, for the trees, and we will focus these guys and this team on fixing those areas, because we go around and see certain areas, but we don't see it all. So we've been pretty. I know of 3 situations where there have been comments that you've directed people to a specific spot just because of that. So anybody who's listening, we'll get there. We got a team now, so you can see it. You can see what they've done, and they're really trying to lift the umbrellas. And like I'll give you an example. There was another one even on Upper Bay and Back Bay Court, right at the corner where there's a utility box. There's a tree growing up in the almost in the utility box, which we're going to take care of. It's in our easement, but it's really on personal property, but it's now going to affect that. So somebody brought that up, and we're gonna take care of it.
I think there's one like that at Upper Bay in West Indies. There's a palm tree, and I can't figure out if it.
Take a picture and send it. Take a picture and send it. We'll take care of it.
You have to look before you get to the palm tree to see if anybody's coming, and then you have to scoot up and look again.
We're trying to make sure that, and again, when you first start this, it's when it's a project, but then after we get it up, it'll be maintenance. But we've gone too long without really trimming our trees, and it's healthy for the trees too. We've had a number of arborists say, like on Howard Ward Park, those would go up faster if we would trim like we're doing now. We never did that. So.
Well, and the condo that's for townhome that's right there has a new owner, so they may not even be paying attention to it or realize or.
Just take a picture and send it to us. We'll take care of it.
I've noticed the live oaks drop like 3 or 4 or 5 feet after it rains over the streets. It would be good to inspect right after it rains.
Good for you, Glenn. Thank you. We haven't thought of that one.
It's a phenomenal difference.
It is.
Dry and wet.
Our first criteria is we look for the Amazon, truck trimming that's taking place.
That's a mobile measuring standard.
That's right.
Well, that's a good standard, but go after it rains.
I know it will.
Yeah.
I know there have been improvements in the last couple of months regarding the city's website, its layout and format. In all honesty, I've noticed the improvements, so I'm glad to see you made it. From what I discovered earlier in the spring. I hope that's an ongoing project, because it obviously Obviously, it's a journey and not a destination, but we still have a long way.
We do.
Yeah, and that's Sherry, communicate the new communications and emergency management. So she's been doing a really and had a lot of feedback from residents. So she's actually, when they email her, she'll go through it, and we're trying to get it really user friendly, really, because it's
And I'll be happy to share some of this feedback with her because I'm sure he knows.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all directed to her.
Yeah.
What it make it happen. The one thing I wanted to comment though is I was appreciative during the roll up for Francine. If you visited the site, there was a pop-up window.
It is.
That sort of forced you to engage with. I was getting my weather from other sources, but at least it forced the engagement there, and at least
Correct.
I had to get away from it. I think
That came from a suggestion here.
Yeah, I think
It may have been you.
Yeah, it may have been. I think that's good. Again, I ignored it because I was getting weather elsewhere, but
Yeah.
other people aren't, so that was good to see there. And then the other thing I wanted to mention around that, because of that, that's why the website is very important, is that, and I'll share this with Sherry. I have my version of KISS. We've all heard to keep it simple,
Mhm.
sweet, but I've hated that since I was a kid. I didn't want anybody to be stupid, me or anybody else. And so I call it Don's version of KISS, which is keep it sufficiently simple. It's called there sufficiency and simplicity. We communicate for simplification. That's the overall thing. Part of that. It's not that the information is not there. It's just not simple enough to navigate to.
and we look at other cities too and see what they're putting out, and if it's makes a lot better sense, and we kind of copy some of their stuff.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
share
we
some of this
just
feedback directly
Yep.
with her, but thank you for, I see efforts. I want to congratulate those
Yeah.
efforts, but I know we're also not done.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're right. Just for others, we're going to be getting rid of this. What do they call it? Owl.
The owl, yeah.
Because it's really not. It's the quality is very variable. Very variable. But we're also looking at our whole recording system, how we tie that in with Channel 16, as well as the communication on Facebook and the website. So we've actually created a couple of people really looking into that, and you'll be seeing progress. I'm hoping by next council meeting we won't have the owl anymore. We'll have some other equipment that's going to be there.
Another challenge that we mentioned there, talking the budget conversations.
Correct.
Is, what you can do for service dollars versus one-time equipment purchases, and how do you balance that to fund that? So
Correct.
You can't always get the solution exactly you want
It's-
because of how you have to fund the solution. Right?
Just yeah, correct. So for other people, you've been following this, and you've been at council. It's we've got about $100,000 of funds that can go into hardware. So cameras, mics, all the different things that tie in, but not the system, not the software, not the process side. So we're looking at how we balance the funds that we have in order to do that, to upgrade, because just in all honesty, this is the direction the world's going, not just little Nassau Bay. I mean, digital, having the access, having that done in quality is just where the world is and headed. So we got some catch up.
And it's really tough for the city secretary. You know, last council meeting, I think we had 14 comments from residents. Before that was 18. And so she's trying to transcribe everything and what they're saying, and it's pretty hard. So
And the good news is there's technology now.
There is.
Yeah,
Most of the
that-
technology
yes.
does that, but it doesn't mean somebody has to
There's-
go back and edit it and check it. So
Absolutely.
You're not being court reporter typing.
But
Yeah.
that's what
You still
she's
have
doing
time.
right now.
Yeah.
Just so you know, that's what she's doing. And that's, to me, there's two tasks that just are so low value added is I think you've heard say the guys going out and checking water meters, where we have to take, a week of 4 guys' time just to be able to check
This
our
week.
water,
sweet.
is nuts, right? I mean, just going there and looking at when there's technology that can fix that. It's not cheap technology, but that's just not how I want people's time spent, right? The other is poor Maria, and any city secretary that has to transcribe the verbal to the written format for minutes is a tedious, long job. There's, like you said, there's technology, and not only that, I really want to be able to have the city to be able to have almost instantaneous things where I know that's not really, I mean, I'm using that to be descriptive, but there are transcription technology that'll at least get a draft up so people can we can get it up onto the web and people can see things, or find out where they are in the video that's up there, because we're committed to have all that on the website, to be able to access it to the website.
And you all know once you have that transcription, it's searchable.
It is.
Findable.
Correct.
It's all internally.
All
and
the above.
externally.
Because I believe the city should be the historian for all, activities that take place. We've had time to time different historians that want to take their focus on stuff, and I really think it's a city secretary job to do that. So, what else?
I know a special event coming up. Could I promote it?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I had some. Thank you. I opened it up, and I was going to say something, but please go ahead.
Can I stand up?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, hi everybody. I'm Kat Sanford. I live off of Granada Lane, and I am a certified instructor with Walk with Ease, which is a Arthritis Foundation program. So I am doing a free walking group in October at Howard Ward Park, and I'll have to go make sure I see if it's ADA over there, but it might not be. But anyway, we're going to walk at Howard Ward Park in October, and it's just going to be the start of some other walking programs I'm doing. It's completely free. I have a flyer if you want to come see me after the meeting and find out more about it.
Do you have that in a digital format?
Yes,
Get it to Paul, and he'll have it put up on
Okay.
the website
I will. Thank you.
and Facebook.
But yeah, come see me if you're interested and bring your friends. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I have some experts coming out talking about walking posture and the best shoes and how to get walking again if you're not, or how to take your walking up to the next level. So yeah,
Good.
come see me out here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some other things that I'll mention is on September 21st, Jim Stoa has organized the Paddle Lake Nassau practice event. I guess the main one's going to be October 19th. Is it October 20th? But the one here I'm going to is a practice. So Camp Hope is geared to help facilitate and provide activities as well as fundings for our veterans who are struggling with PTSD. So it's a great event. We started it last year. We've got it funded, but they're organizing. There's going to be canoe and kayak races all on Lake Nassau, and come on out. They'll be there if you want to learn how to, or be there with some of our veterans who are really on a constructive path based off the activities at Camp Hope. Please come out and support them. The other is I got to do a plug for the Gulf Coast Film Awards dinner and gala. The film festival is September 27th. It's actually a range of dates if you want to give the dates out.
Hi, I'm Hamley. I'm the director of the Gulf Coast Film Video Festival. It's our 26th season. We are an internationally recognized award-winning film festival worldwide. We have films all over the world, all in the festival. We've been holding our festival every single day in Nassau Bay. Our award dinner is the 27th, Friday the 27th of September. And then we will have showings of films. I think this year we're going to be showing about 40 films, finalists.
Starting when, Hal?
Starting Saturday morning at 9:15, all weekend through Sunday. You can buy tickets at the door for the screening. If you want to buy dinner tickets now, you have to bring your money to me, because the company we use to sell tickets through, we shut down on every day yesterday because we need to start getting head counts for the Hilton. Before dinner, we'll be at the Hilton, screening will be at the Hilton. So if you live in Nassau Bay, you can almost walk. The prices are right, and I think you have a great time. We have live music. The mayor's been there, so
Yeah.
he can tell you had a pretty good time this year.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. You
So,
treated people right.
and
It was your
we-
silver anniversary last year, if I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
25th year. Yeah, and so like to see people from Nassau Bay. Unfortunately, many of you don't come, and you're sure to see out a good affair. But you heard it from the mayor.
And these food. Yep. Hang on. Maybe you could. The one I was also is October 1st is National Night Out. This is organized, I think, the Nassau Bay Police, the fire department, and actually, I want to give a shout out to Ashley Kluge, Councilman Kluge. She's really helped to coordinate and make sure we have active participation. So, like I said, get to know your police officers, get to know the firemen. I mean, the volunteer fire department to me is one of the most kept secrets, gems, whatever you want to call it. That we have 42 people who volunteer to help fight fires in our city is just an anomaly. It's atypical. Most people have to pay to have what we have. And if we wanted to pay for what we have volunteers doing, it probably adds somewhere around $1.5 to $2 million to our M&O every year. People don't realize what service those guys pay. And I'm very, very thankful to those guys. Which other ones were you thinking?
50 year and 60 year. Just shout out.
So the Women's Tennis Association. So let me hear. Yeah, that's right. This is the 50th year of playing tennis. So there's the Women's Tennis Association is doing that, and they're celebrating their 30th anniversary at the West Mansion on what day is that?
That's
They didn't put the date on here.
no.
They didn't put the date. We'll find out, though. We'll put it out there. But there's a celebration for women's tennis. So if you play tennis or want to get involved, there is a Jerry at 281-381-0508, and she'll get you involved. And then the Nauticats Awards Banquet, is they're the championship team. So gotta put a plug out for the Nassau Bay Nauticats, something with and their 60th anniversary, correct. Which is also funny is that's with the Garden Club too, is it was their 60th anniversary on September 10th. So a lot of anniversaries coming up that are really pretty neat. And if there are two things that are kind of again atypical and traditional and really help with the character of our city, it's the Nauticats and the Garden Club. So the two mainstays.
When's firefighter week?
That is
October.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
I did that probably October 1st. Yeah, so that's not right. It'll probably be the 6th. Hang on a second.
Here it says June 16th through the 22nd.
No, that's
The open house though, I think is what.
Yeah.
Firefighters Day.
We'll get that date. I
Yeah.
just don't have it in front of me. It's in October.
Mid-October.
Yeah, correct. It's in October. That's first half of October.
And also we are we remain full at the animal shelter, so have some really good dogs and cats out there. If you know anybody looking to adopt one, and so see Troy, he'd be more than happy. And we have our get one dog and get two cats free. I'll pay for that. So that's all I have.
Much you want to attract dogs.
Well, that's where if you do a cat, we'll get 2 dogs. It works both ways.
In terms of budget, long-term budget planning, what's the timeline for the dredging and the water?
So
The water meter replacement.
yeah, so the water meter is probably going to be in the 26-27 time frame. It's believe it or not, that's an $800,000+ investment to change everything out to smart meters. I think it's worth it because there's also other things that can happen, which is if you as a citizen are traveling and want to turn off your water rather than going out there and doing this, you can do it digitally. We can also do that in case of if our water treatment plant gets submerged and we want to make sure we preempt anything from there in a catastrophic hurricane, we can protect the water system from things along that line. So there's a lot of service, as well as be able to have very accurate readings of the meters without spending the labor. But it's in that time frame.
Yeah, and during the last freeze, I think we shut off 67 meters.
Yeah.
And that was also trying to maintain the system and everything. So sometimes it took us about 2 to 3 hours to get the meter turned off, and then it was a whole another day before we could get it on, and then half of them broke, and so it's this way the resident can just shut their meter off. They have a leak at 2 a.m, they can shut their meter off, and so we are really looking for grants to help us get
for,
this
for dredging. I'll say it this way: there's, as I mentioned, want to get out of the repair business and get out of the creation business. I mean, on dredging, we have one of 3 projects that we've submitted to FEMA for engineering review. And the 3 projects are one to like dredge Lake Nassau down to like 12 feet and put in 480 power and all the big pumps that can actually, we only have, I think, 220. Yeah. And one. So we don't even have the juice to be able to really pump out what we'd like to pump out. So that's there. And I'm on pins and needles because we were supposed to have heard in end of August for whether or not we were granted those engineering studies. We're going to now hear in September, and that's when we'll find out, what FEMA will do. We're going to do it no matter what, but it's going to take a year to be able to do the engineering study. The other project is to run 480 all the way up Upper Bay Road so that we actually can put big pumps in there too. We've got a multitude of small pumps, which, as you see, the streets still fill up even though the pumps are on, and then they drain out. But we want to do even better than that. And then there is one big repair, but it's also putting in up at Davon in the center of the city, rerouting that water to the creek over at Cal Bayou, so that we take that load off and upgrade the drainage in the center of the city. So
after the engineering studies, is there potential FEMA grant?
There is.
The actual work? There is. And what cost share is that?
So it depends.
Yes, we're looking about 70-30.
Yeah,
it's about 70-30 is the average, about 30.
We pay 30.
30 us. 30
yeah,
us.
We pay it depends, but I mean the one that I really like, and if I have the ability to do it, I'll be super happy. Because I would love to dredge Lake Nassau to like 12 feet, change that back to a recreational lake. Right now, if you go out there, it goes anywhere from 1 feet to maybe, if you're lucky, three to, and one of the big problems there is that means we always fight algae blooms there. Anybody who lives along that lake, if we're not careful and if we're not doing stuff, and the window is so narrow, and even in the best of efforts, we still get it. But all that algae, and then when it just smells, it's just bad. Not only that is I want us to be able to fight a tropical storm or a low grade hurricane, where if we get 10, 12 inches of rain deluge, that we as a city can fight that without shutting down our emergency evacuation routes and to be able to provide for things. Right now, we can only really protect against 3 or 4 inches. And a lot of that is because Lake Nassau just doesn't have the volumetric capacity to be able to handle that. 1 inch of rain puts 3 to 4 inches of headspace on Lake Nassau. 95% of all rain that hits Nassau Bay goes into that lake. And it is the main artery for our first line of defense for flooding mitigation or flood avoidance. So if we can add that level, he could be able to drop the headspace of the lake. Instead of 12 inches, he could do 4 feet. And if we have a big pump that does not 3,000 gallons per minute, but 20,000 gallons per minute, we'll be able to fight where we can have a pretty major storm and be able to hold our own. And the whole key is 6 feet berm around the whole city. We're in a bowl. We're already in there. And the ability to handle a 10-inch rain would do wonders to be able to, from an infrastructure standpoint.
I think if you sell it as a recreational facility,
we'd have to market that and bring people into our city. But you're absolutely right. I mean, there's plus and I'm going to look into that, Glenn, because that's we haven't taken that tact. You know, most people have liked that as a private lake of Nassau, you know, of Nassau Bay. But we've got $1.8 million over in the hot tax that's looking for a place to go. I'm bending over backwards trying to find places to constructively use those funds. That's a good one.
The peninsula is another, as a, will pay for
Bird.
water,
Yeah.
water, land,
Correct.
retaining waterways.
Yeah, wetlands.
Wetlands.
Yeah, wetlands. Yeah, wetland restoration,
I
things
will
along.
pay for that.
Correct.
The thing with the budget for trails, peninsula trails.
Yeah, they can. They can. But no, that's. I've also got a little twinkle in my eye that says we're going to take some core samples because I believe there's only about 4 or 5 feet of silt that if there's actually hard soil underneath there, and I'd like to take that hard soil and raise the marina over on the other side, where right now the biggest cost of dredging is the mules of trucks to be able to move that amount of dirt to a landfill. If we have a local place, we could probably offset about $1 million, and we could pay the homeowners association $1 million to allow us to use them as a spoil site, so they can then use that $1 million to build a new marina. Those are the things we need to be really fix some chronic issues in the
A
city.
concern I bring up from time to time is the bulkhead, city-owned bulkhead, and I don't think there was any funding put into the budget.
We
For that, it is very old.
so
It needs some inspection, and I'm afraid it's gonna be.
I-
And
we
we have
started.
to look into that because from what I understand is some of them were sold
I
to
don't.
residents. So
All I know
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Residents
yeah.
own some of them, and
Yes.
I would be very happy
Yeah.
to see the residents have.
yeah, so
they should. They should. Well, let me just say this: that's one piece, and I think you've heard me talk. We have not been able to get to our bulkheads yet, and the one good thing is that our water and sewer fund is after 26, 27, we'll start really putting cash. So by 28, 29, we should have like $2.5 million over there. If you just talk to the people over at Bell Harbor, theirs are actually newer than some of the ones that we have, and they're running into real issues. You know, I think they would tell you this: that they've got boaters that go through that and create wakes and have done things that created that erosion more than ours. But I'm scared of. I mean, if there's an issue out there that is a high dollar amount that we haven't funded, it's our bulkhead. There's no question about it. We'll get there, but we're trying to get the water, sanitary, and streets fixed first.
I know there's a lot to do, but I also know
It's
that
very
it's
true.
really old, and I don't want it to start collapsing and costing some more money.
Yeah, there are quite a range of I mean, just looking right there on Upper Bay Road, just that area there, and it's $1,000 per linear foot.
Oh, is it that expensive?
Oh yes, it used to be $5, but it's about I mean, if we do a big project, it may be less, but I know Bell Harbor has reached out. They want to know if there's something that we can do, maybe collaborative, because they've had some bulkhead failures, and with Beryl, it really exposed for some property because it created erosion that's actually starting to threaten a house.
Yes, I can see, I noticed some pilings that are split.
Yep, no question. It's
As long as you guys are watching out for it.
Yep.
Maybe the next budget we can plug a little in.
Yep, that's just. I mean, that's one of those projects that actually pays to do all at once, rather than a little bit at a time.
I'm thinking these pumps that I hope will happen along Upper Bay.
Yep.
Specifically, those pieces of land need to be reinforced quite well.
They also need to make sure, because some there, but I'll give you an example on our street. You know, Sea Cove. There's been subsidence right there, and you can see one property owner that's, that the bulkhead's really bad, but right there where the easement where we have that is sunk. So we only have like about a 4-foot, berm over base flood elevation. And it was very apparent that with Barrow, that was one of the main reasons the bowl filled up, was because we couldn't keep it in the bed. So
Yeah, I used to pay $3.50 per 3 pilings in the channel. Now it's $9.50.
Yeah.
For 3. Yeah, so everything is just expensive.
It's just as a rule of thumb, $1,000 a linear foot.
And we do have rules, we have ordinances as far as property owners taking care of their bulkhead.
Yep.
Yep.
So, if we can enforce that a little bit, we need that enforcement officer.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? It's 10 after 10.
Great.
Anything else?
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.